Hi, I'm Alka, and this is Super Mayro Star Road, which is a ROM hack that I made back in 2018, and I consider it to be my first ROM hack that I've ever made. And this ROM hack has some interesting history. So, before this ROM hack was created, I was making a ROM hack called Mayro SM64 for a YouTuber named Mayro SMM. Now goes by Mayro. And that ROM hack was designed to be mostly just really hard levels with no particular theme, which is why it was never finished, because there wasn't much I could do with that idea, since it had no particular theme to it. There was no creativity to that. And this was during an era where I was making a bunch of projects with not a lot of direction, just trying to get something made, because I've always wanted to make a Super Mario 64 ROM hack, and I just never had the motivation to complete one. So that went back into the pile of things that I've started and never finished. And then, eventually, Mayro made a video about a ROM hack that someone made for them. And I posted in the comments, hey, I was making a ROM hack for Mayro. And people replied to me saying that I should finish it and call it something different than Super Mario 64. Because that's what the ROM hack in the video was called. And there was one person in that comment section who said to call it Super Mayro Star Road, as a reference to Super Mario Star Road, which was one of the most famous ROM hacks of all time for Super Mario 64, which is essentially a entire sequel to the game. The first ROM hack that really accomplished that feat. So I decided to take that suggestion and make Super Mario Star Road, which is partially a parody of Super Mario Star Road, but also a ROM hack for Mayro, of course. So, yes, this ROM hack was released in June of that year, and released after Skull Pirate Bandy and Skull Pirate Bandy Hard Mode, but I'll get into those ROM hacks some other time. Let us begin. So, the title screen here has just a lot of jokes referencing some things, like Bop and Fearsome Fire, who was a YouTuber that Mayro was friends with. And also the one in the background, I just took the Bowser's Inside Story file select screen. It took the one for some reason off of the first file, which is kinda odd. I don't know why that's the texture I stole, but that's the texture that I stole, so that's what's there. And this version of the ROM hack is not actually the original one I released back in 2018. This is a version of the ROM hack that's been sitting on my computer ever since Mayro played the ROM hack in 2018. Because when Mayro played the ROM hack, I wanted to make some quality of life changes and some improvements to it, which are found here. And those improvements are things like the lack of a life counter, so you can die as many times as you want without consequence. And just some smaller changes. I think there's some changes to the camera, for example. So, obviously, this level here, this hub world, rather, is the Cap Kingdom from Super Mario Odyssey. And it's a little crappy recreation of it made in SketchUp, but it's one of the first models that I've really properly made in SketchUp. So I think it's okay for being that. So there's two stars here. There's the red coin star, and there is a star over here, which are the platform I use hats on. And this wasn't in the original version. Originally, the Boo over here just appeared on the main island after you collect a certain amount of stars, but I decided to change that because that wasn't very intuitive, that a Boo just spawns on the island. So you have to actually go over here. There's several bugs associated with this little hub world that I made. One is the fog on the on the bottom, or what's meant to be fog. I originally wanted to be kind of transparent and also have it scroll, but the version of Super Mario 64 editor that I was using, which is a ROM hacking tool for Mario 64, had some glitches to it and didn't allow that to happen. I had to use I learned later that I had to use an older version for stuff like that to work, and didn't actually get stuff like that to work until Snowman's Land remade, which I made in November of this very year. So there's some boos around here who has some dialogue. This person talks about 1-2 oatmeal, which is a Total Flips meme. So that's just the lyrics to 1-2 oatmeal. Mayro made several remixes of 1-2 oatmeal, so it was thematically appropriate for this hack. So this one talks about the cannon here, which will be available at 11 stars. The original version of the ROM hack only had 11 stars, but this one has 13. I wanted to make sure that even if you played this version instead, you didn't have to get the extra stars. You just get the original ones to beat it. So this boo talks about BIS, which stands for Bowser's Inside Story. And it was both my hero game of all time and Mayro's, so there's that reference to it, and also some other ones later on. So this ROM hack has 3 hidden SMM symbols. Obviously a reference to Mayro's name, Mayro SMM. And there's one in this, which is probably the hardest one to find. You have to stay in the location of the Mushroom Kingdom hit art from Super Mario Odyssey, be able to teleport to the SMM symbol. So usually in Mario Odyssey, you ground pound on that spot and a moon pops up, and you find that spot through Mushroom Kingdom hit art. So staying in that spot gets you the SMM symbol, and there's another SMM symbol in this level right over there, as you can see. Not so hidden, actually. It's just on the little platform here. So this level, this is Bob-omb Towers, which is a parody of the first level from Super Mario Star Road, and focuses on the tower theme. And Mayro and the rest of Mayro's chat when she live streamed this assumed that this was a reference to a video that Mayro made called, well, it was about the tower in Mushroom Kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey, how people kept hiding the balloons on the tower in the Luigi's balloon world. They kept hiding the balloons on the tower. So people thought, oh, making everything about the tower is obviously a little jab at that level, video, but it was not. But this is a reference to a video that Mayro made where she had a speed hack on for Mario Kart Wii and made everything extremely fast. Made everyone go 200 kilometers per hour. So I did the same thing here, just made the Bob-omb King really fast. And that's the star. There's not much more to it than that. So that was the first star of the hack, and the rest of the stars in the level are also not particularly interesting of note. The second one is also just on a tower, once again, really hitting towards the fact that that is a reference to that video, but was just a complete accident on my part. So, you might have noticed that the note blocks in this level are a bit glitched out, and that actually has a bit of an interesting story to them. When I started making this hack, I forgot to apply Kaze's More Objects patch, which I've always had a difficult time applying to my ROM hacks anyway. I don't know how everyone else gets that patch to work, but I've always had to do some weird workaround for it to actually not crash the game. And for this hack, I forgot to apply it right away. So I applied it partway through to have the More Objects, and doing that had some really interesting results that I've never seen any other ROM hack have. And one of those results is that the note blocks have that little model like twisted on one side, and the collision's also messed up because of that. which is just an interesting side note. So, which is, I'm thankful that that is actually still works though, because some of the other models for other objects did not work, and I had to come up with some workarounds for that, which you'll see later on. As that bomb said, these islands are way too close to the cannon, so in order to do is aim straight up, be able to get onto these. And when I was making this, I didn't really care about that because I didn't really like the cannon mechanic in Mario 64 anyway. It was just useful for adding some variety to the level design. So it was alright by me for you to just shoot up to those islands in the sky. Which is also a reference to just Mario 64 in general. And of course we have the typical 8 red coin star. And when I get the 8 red coin star in Mario 64 and Mario 64 Romhacks, I also get the 100 coin star. So that's what I will be doing here. And there's barely enough coins in this level for you to get the 100 coin star. At the time, I thought 100 coin stars as meant to be a bit of a challenge for the player to get. It's meant to show that you have accomplished the level. You have done the hardest thing, which is the 100 coin star. You've proven your worth. You've gotten 100 coins in a single run. Nice job. The red coin star here is not the best designed red coin star of all time. There's a lot of red coins near actual stars, and I've said in the past that you shouldn't do that, because that's like putting an eighth of a star near an entire star, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. And also, people don't really like getting red coin stars and 100 coin stars, since they're really the same thing. Like, you're going all over the level just to collect these coins. So nowadays, I do what most Romhack creators do and put a bunch of red coins in a single area, so you don't have to go all over the level just within an area. And I also like the idea of only having to get 6 out of the 8. So if you're just missing like 1 or 2 red coins, you're not super frustrated and trying to find the last 2 red coins. You just get the 6th one and you're done. And those 2 red coins are so useful for the 100 coins. So I think there's a nice balance to that. And I really like that. It'll allow also more flexibility with level design because of that. In the hub world in Cap Kingdom, like I said, there were some glitches along associated with it. And one of those glitches was that in Cap Kingdom there's this little slope near the beginning where you go up to go get Cappy. And I had originally modeled that slope, but Mayro kept falling through it. And I didn't know how to fix that. And there was a similar problem with another hack that I made around this time, which was Skull Pirate Bandy. And I had no idea why Mayro kept falling through the slope. And I eventually came up with a workaround for that, which is to just remove the ground below it, so Mayro can't fall onto any ground below the slope, and just goes up the slope. I think it might have been a problem with the actual model importer I was using at the time, because I haven't run into that issue since then, and I've done that several more times since this point. I don't know, Mario 64 is just funky with its collision. Speaking of Mayro, this little Mario-looking fella is Mayro's OC at the time that Mayro used a lot on their other channel, which is her like original channel, Mario Knows 1, hence why there's a 1 on the cap. And I made the colors lighter on this little color code of Mario, because in Super Mario Star Road, Mario's colors were also made lighter to replicate, I believe, Super Mario World's color palette. So I did a similar thing here with Mayro's color scheme, because once again, this is kind of a parody of Super Mario Star Road. This design here is kind of interesting. There's just a normal Bob-omb that is blue for some reason, and there's just a coin on that little platform over there. Just because I could. there's no design reason behind that. Since this is one of my first Romhacks, well, like I said, to be my first, I just kind of did whatever I felt like Cap Kingdom here. There's no reason for it to be Cap Kingdom. I just felt like making Cap Kingdom. Has nothing to do with Mayro, has nothing to do with anything. It's just Cap Kingdom. And this level is a parody of Super Mario Star Road, but I just kind of wanted to make a parody of that first level of Super Mario Star Road. This is the only actual full level in this hack. I was planning on making more, and I came up with a concept for the second one back then. I actually drew on paper the layout of that level, or a bit of a layout for that other level, which was meant to be kind of a test level made into a full-on actual level you can explore. Think like Super Mario Sunshine's test level, if you've ever seen that. That's the one that always goes to my mind when I think of a test level with all its debug textures and all of that. But I never made that, unfortunately. So this level is Super Mario Galaxy, which was a mod made by MT Lens for Mayro, and was probably the most popular thing on Mayro's channel at the time. Also, here's the other hidden SMM, the third one. It's in the background here. But that mod was a really difficult mod of Super Mario Galaxy made for Mayro, and I had partially recreated it in this Romhack here. So this opening is just exactly the same as the actual Super Mario Star Road. Well, not Super Mario Star Road, as the Super Mario Galaxy. But I realized I can't recreate this entire thing, so I kind of came up with my own design part right through here. Also, that's another More Objects patch platform, and that's the one I said the model corrupted and I could not use. And I ended up using the Hazy Maze Cave elevator platform, which works somehow, and I'm really surprised that it worked. So this level is really difficult. I died a lot of times recording this for this video here, and I somehow made it through on this attempt. This version of the hack adds the red coins here, so this is one of the extra stars I add that made it up to 13 stars in this hack instead of 11. And the red coins here are really difficult, especially at the end, as you will see here. So this is reference to the mod where there's a really easy boss, the easiest boss in the original mod, which is Bouldergeist but on steroids pretty much. Really difficult version of Bouldergeist. And I didn't put a really easy boss in this version because there's no checkpoint in Mario 64. So I said made it so it's the Bob-omb King in Bob-omb Towers, since that is a really difficult version of the easy boss in Mario 64. So that's Mayro's downfall, which is a reference to the title of Mayro's video on the hack mod. On the mod. So as you can see, the cannon's already open, but we have one more level to do, which is this one. And this is Rainbow Road from Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. And you can't really tell it's Rainbow Road from that until like a very particular point. But it is. And I made a texture here trying to replicate it, and you can really see it here at that section. I was just lazy to make the rest pixelated, so whatever. Simple start if you're just going through it, trying to get a fast time. So I made a texture for the road, and it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it does the job. It's a rainbow texture that's pixelated, or attempts to be pixelated. It looks alright for what I was trying to do. So there's not a lot to this level other than the fact that it is a Mario Kart stage. Also over here is the 13th star that I added. It's so clever, oh my gosh. But because Mayro was a big fan of Mario Kart, I wanted to include a Mario Kart level in this hack. This was it. Truly a rainbow thingy right there. So this is the hack pretty much. And there is one more level which is atrocious, and you're gonna experience every part of it. The final level here is another reference to something that Mayro did, and it is a mod for Mario 64, or a cheat code that Mayro put on that made all of the objects face towards the camera. And because all of the objects in the first Bowser level, well, all the level assets in the first Bowser level are actually objects, they all face towards the camera, and Mayro had a really difficult time playing through the level. So, what I did is I rotated all the objects by, I think, like 90 degrees, so they're not in the correct spaces at all. And that doesn't mess with the collision at all. So, you have this monstrosity of a level that is really hard to play through. And also, all of the normal platforms are gone, and you'll see where those are later on. So, there's not much more to this level other than that, and not much more to this hack other than that. I will say that alongside the levels made for this hack, I had also ported some music into Mario 64 for this hack, which includes a rendition of Space Fantasy from Super Mario Galaxy, because that was the song used in Super Mario Galaxy. So that's used in that level, and there was no MIDI file of that song, so what I did is I took the Battle Rock Galaxy music and I got rid of the extra parts of that song, because the melody of Space Fantasy is actually in Battle Rock Galaxy's theme. So I just took that part of Battle Rock Galaxy's theme and just ported that into Mario 64. There's also the title theme, which is the file select screen from Bowser's Inside Story, which doesn't sound very good. And then there is one more song that I ported personally into this hack, and it is by far the best sounding one. It is In the Final from Bowser's Inside Story, which is used in the final boss of this hack. And that's Dark Bowser from Bowser's Inside Story, who's also the final boss. So here's some fun dialogue here. So yeah, the game crashes if you die here, and that is because I used a patch that was made for Super Mario the Green Stars that allows the star that the final boss spawns in Mario 64 to actually warp you to somewhere else in the game instead of playing the ending cutscene. And I wanted this hack to end nice like that. However, Mario 64 has very limited amount of warps when you don't import a custom model. And it says this is just the final boss of Mario 64 with all its parts removed to make it the final triangle. I had only one warp, which was the exit warp when you die. So I just made that the warp that the star uses, but now there's no exit warp when you die. So when you die, the game crashes because there's nowhere to warp you to. So don't die. It's a simple answer to that. Very unfortunate. Very not very well put together hack. Also Nathaniel Bandy every time. Very buggy hack. But it is my first one, and I feel like there's some good parts to it. I think Bottom Towers is particularly well done to a degree. I mean, it's a decent level. And the recreation of Super Mario Galaxy, the beginning of it, I find actually kind of impressive. So, I think that's good. there's not much more to say about this hack. I kind of said everything I've wanted to say. So, yes, this is my first hack. This is the first one, not the first one that I released, but the first one that I started working on and then released after 2 more, which you'll see very soon. So, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my inane ramblings about this. But I hope you enjoyed my commentary of Super Mario Star Road.